and I am streaming live. I don't even know if I'm doing this setup right, but I can't tell in my YouTube studio. But my name is Dina Haynes, and I'm here to talk to you about uh, manifesting and how that works in real time, like in your real life. And right now, so today I'm going to talk about three things that or messages that I heard from Spirit while this past week. And so the thumbnail, I put this on the thumbnail. I put that you are not alone, which is the truth. You are never alone. None of us are ever alone. And if I'm being honest, 99% of people out there are not going to get this. You're not going to understand this. But I'm thinking that if you're here, you're either at the beginning of your awakening journey and you do understand it, or you could be well advanced in your journey. So you might understand what I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about is once you have your awakening event where you realize, okay, so this is not an accident. We're here for somewhat of a reason. Maybe you haven't figured out what that reason is yet. Uh, but if you stick with my channel, if you subscribe, hit the notification bell and subscribe to my channel, we will talk about it in real time. And any questions that you have on this live stream, put them in the chat and then we can answer them in real time. Whatever your personal questions are or your issues are, we can discuss them in real time. So, and I've had this channel for years. I have a huge backlog of videos about manifestation, but I have to say my views now probably are changed a little bit from what they were then, although there is still some good knowledge you can get from those videos. But so definitely check them out. And you'll see the link probably at the end of the video. So just stay tuned till the end and then you can peruse or you can just check out my channel. But today, these are the messages that I got from Spirit, the downloads from Spirit that I got, which just proves that you're not alone. These are messages that Spirit is giving to you every day. So okay, so let me back up just a sec. Just so you know, it sounds hokey, but everyone here has their own spiritual guide, and which is why you're not alone. Your spiritual guide, they're with you on this ride, really giving you hints and nudges and trying to let you know through it could be through music, it could be through conversations that you have with friends or family, it could be through movies that you watch, um, television shows, whatever, any kind of communication. It could be from a billboard, it could be from a conversation that you happen to hear going on around you at any moment. I mean, these messages, they're coming all the time, and our spirit guides are constantly trying to nudge us toward a better life, toward our desired life, because you, me, everyone, we are all meant to have a good life. And the purpose of us being here is to basically the journey of becoming awakened, realizing that there is more to life than just the physical, and that most of the important stuff is going on really inside in your inner world, your spirit guide, your inner being. um, and it's all about awakening to that fact while you're here experiencing all the chaos that is this world, and then figuring out, okay, so now that I know that what I'm seeing in the reality is not really real, how do I manipulate this, mm, or sort of steer the ship of my life so that I can get to my desired life? And so there's more to that too, but let's get into the things that I heard from Spirit this week. Okay, so the first thing is You have the code. We all have the code within, no matter what your spiritual indoctrination is. Like if you're Christian or Muslim or Buddhist or you're just spiritual, we all have the code within to knowing our spiritual selves. It's all within. So, like me personally, I come from a background of not having religious upbringing, like a formal religious upbringing. Uh, my mom did, and so, but then later in life, she became atheist. My sister's atheist, and my father wasn't really around, so um, she didn't. My mom didn't really give us that formal, like religious upbringing. So I don't know much about the Bible and stuff, although I do love to hear other spiritual advisors, I guess I would call them, or people on YouTube who talk about manifestation in the Bible. I think that stuff is fascinating, and I learned so much from it. Um, and but I don't personally have like a formal religious background, so I really came to my spirituality honestly from spirit, from my spirit guides. I had awakening uh, about 25 years ago. I was watching Oprah and she had Deepak Chopra on. And they were talking about, what Deepak Chopra talks about, was just spirituality. And it just kind of awakened me. And through a series of events, like I met this Wiccan, because you could even be Wiccan and whatever you're and be spiritual. This I had this friend who was I learned was Wiccan, and she gave me this book called The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. And a lot of you have probably heard of this book. It's very famous. And I read that book, and that was also part of my spiritual awakening. So, but I learned on my own. But you might be different. You might have grown up with like a strict Catholic upbringing, learning the Bible and believing all the stories within it in a literal sense, and listening to other people tell you what spirituality is, how to be one on one with God. But the truth is that the only way to establish a relationship with God, the universe, spirit, is through yourself, through your i- inside. You have to come to that. Really, I feel like you come to that on your own. It's a m- way more deeply personal relationship than something that anyone can really tell you or teach you. You have to come to it on your own. And so, what Spirit was telling me is we all have this code. It may feel like, which is why I say 99% of you won't get this, because 99% of people out there in the world aren't seeking the answers. And so they will never have that one-on-one relationship with God, your higher self, the universe. And but the 1% of you who are seeking those answers, you will get those messages. And so that's what that means. So that's the message that I got from Spirit. One of the messages is that everyone has the code. We all start really kind of from ground zero, and it's about becoming aware or having that awakening experience when you become aware that that God is within, and that when you go within and when you start to seek those answers, that is when you awaken to your connection to the higher self, to God, to the universe. Okay, so then the other thing, that message that I got, is that the truth is addictive. So once you have this awakening experience, this is like really, this is when the journey starts to take off, is what I would say. Because part of the journey is becoming awakened to that fact. And the other part is then, okay, now that I have this information, like, what does that mean for me? How will that influence my life? How can I use that information to direct my life in a way that brings all of my desires to me? Um, let's see, what did I say? And the reason that it's addictive to these questions of it's basically like a feeling of resonance. All of a sudden, things start to make sense. Like I find that sayings that people say, um, uh, like do unto others as you would have them to do unto you, like all of these things, these little sayings that you hear repeated throughout your life, we all hear these sayings. All of a sudden, they start to resonate. And when you start seeking out manifestation materials like books or videos, and that resonation is just your connection. It really, honestly, to me, proves that we are all connected. There's really nothing different between us, and how reality is uh, like a cloak. I mean, in reality, we see all these differences. On TV or on your YouTube channel, when you see people across the world, we all look. That is the fight, because it's really there. It's almost there to distract and to deceive. Because the truth is, we are all souls. Our souls don't really have a physical, expression. Our souls are just souls that are made up of. And so when we come on this earth, we are led to believe, and nothing in common, but that's not the truth. And when you become awakened, you want to know the truth. And once you get just a nugget of that truth, you want to know more. You just want to keep wanting to learn more. And how can I bring this into this crazy 3D reality that uh, is just so chaotic? Okay, so the other thing is, um, the other message that I got from Spirit is that I am living proof that you cannot talk someone into improving their life. You can't convince people of this stuff unless they want to be convinced, unless they too are looking for answers. And I mean, like I said before, so I live with my mom and my sister. They're both of them are atheists. Um, they're kind of victims of, like my mom, she's a victim of what her parents taught her. She's also a victim of, because of her age, she's a victim of old ways of thinking, which is, work hard, and, that's all there is to life. Um, she's, her and my sister.
I'm busy.
See, they're knocking on the door.
I'm busy. I'll be out in like, I don't know, 20 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay. So I have to tell you this really quick. Okay. So I can't talk about this stuff around them. I have to kind of, I don't tell them what I'm doing in here. They don't know that I'm live on YouTube doing these videos. They don't, I mean, I think my sister might have known about it, but anyway. So so like I said, they're on a completely different vibration. They're locked into the 3D reality, you know. My mom watching the news every day, all day, and just really sucked into that fear. How do I call it? That locked into the fear paradigm that people get sucked into in 3D reality, in this reality. And so I can't talk to them about this manifestation stuff. I can't talk to them about using visualization, uh, and to change their to get their desired life. They don't even think that's possible. I mean, it's just nuts. And so every day, it's like I feel like I'm, since I've moved here, back, home, I am just living proof that you're not going to be able to convince everyone. You're not going to be able to talk to everyone about these kinds of things, about manifestation and the purpose of life. and how to make it better. I mean, some people, they don't even believe in true happiness, you know. They don't think that, I don't know, they're just not truly happy, and they might live this whole life and not ever find happiness. They don't think that that's something to pursue, which is nuts. They're just surviving. But that's no way to live, right? I mean, if you're here, you're my guess is that you're like me. You want to live. You want to sort of you want to you want to overcome this game, so to speak, because a lot of people do refer to it as like a game. And you want to have that desired life. I feel like that is the shift. I feel like that's kind of the 4D shift that people are talking about. I mean, I know I see it on YouTube, but in the world is that shift from to the fourth dimension. People are now realizing that there's more to life than the 9 to 5, than the usual, than doing what everybody else is taught to do. You get married, you have kids, you go on vacations to Disneyland. I mean, there's definitely like this, like uh, this mold, or this, these parameters of what people consider a good life. And I just find younger people, and people like me, I mean, I'm definitely not younger, but people like me, we're trying to figure out, how do we get happy? How do we get happier than what we're in right now? How do we feel fulfilled? We want fulfillment out of life. I mean, in my mom's generation, it was just about, you get it, how to survive, how to make sure you have money enough to raise your kids. And some of you out there might be in those situations where you're like, well, now that I have kids, it's really all about, how do I make money to raise my kids, to put food on the table, you know, and to give them a better life than I had, whatever your reasoning is. But there's also this, if you've become awakened, then you want to know there's got to be more to it than just putting food on the table. I mean, life can be a rich, and it's meant to be a rich experience. And it doesn't matter how old you are when you come to this realization. This is not just for young people. This is for people like me, people who are even older than me. There's some people that don't really start living their life until their 80s. What is this? I remember hearing about this older lady who was like 80 years old, and it wasn't until she became 80 years old that she started painting. She became this world renowned painter, artist. But she spent, sound like 80 years of her life doing what she was supposed to do, right? Not really finding her happiness. But this is really what it's all about. And if you haven't already, subscribe. If you want to talk about this more in depth, if you want to figure out how you're going to jerry rig your life to get the most out of it, to really live, then keep watching, and join the chat, or put questions in the comments. If you have something you're struggling with, or you want some more clarity, and we will talk about this more in depth.